The Ministry of Education has opened up the parent consultation website so that people can provide their opinions on the sex ed curriculum. As a result, many people have been asking us at Peace, how should they respond? Hi, I'm Phil Lees of Peace, and in this video, I would like to explore how we can effectively respond on this important issue so that it leads to an effective long-term solution. Peace has provided a detailed open submission, all right, and during sit-down meetings with MPPs, our suggestions have been warmly received. You can access our detailed submission on the Peace Ontario website. Many people are responding by expressing concern with the curriculum and asking for specific offensive content to be removed, such as affirming alternative sexual lifestyles, sexual pleasure, and masturbation as a way in which to investigate what you like sexually. Then they are requesting that content that is important to them be added, such as instruction in what is true love, instruction in marriage, and mandatory abstinence and chastity. It's wonderful that many people are communicating these concerns. However, achieving an effective curriculum may not be as simple as just changing the parts. The reality is, the current curriculum, is based on a philosophical approach called comprehensive sex education, which has a foundational strategy of risk reduction. The underlying belief is that it's impossible to dissuade many youth from engaging in sex, so they need strategies that will help to reduce the risk of getting pregnant and of getting a sexually transmitted infection. We might think that these changes would address the concerns of traditional worldview families and lead to a curriculum that would be acceptable. There is, however, a problem. When the philosophical foundation of the program is not consistent with the new content, that additional content will be minimized by the implementers and eventually ignored. We can see this has happened with the issue of abstinence. Abstinence is referred to in the curriculum. There are statements that not engaging in any sexual activity is the only way to ensure you do not get a sexually transmitted infection. However, there is little emphasis placed on abstinence in this curriculum under this philosophical approach. There is a second factor to consider when we make suggestions. The reality is that we live in a pluralistic province where there are families with different worldviews. If the government implemented all of our requests and created a well-designed sexual risk avoidance, abstinence program, we would be happy because the teaching would be in alignment with our values. But there would be a large group of families with different worldviews that would feel as though the government curriculum was imposing values that were not consistent with their home. They would rise up, rally, and work toward electing a new government that would then change the curriculum back. We need a solution that will last long term. For this to happen, it needs to address the varied worldviews. That can happen only if meaningful curriculum choices are available. It's important to note that public health officials recognize that there is choice in sexual education. There are two accepted philosophies driving sex education programming. The first one, comprehensive sex education, which is the foundation of the 2015 curriculum and takes a risk reduction approach as we've described. The second approach is called sexual risk avoidance, which is a well-designed abstinence approach to sex ed. It helps youth to identify their goals and values and then builds understanding of the negative effects of teen sexual activity on achieving those goals. There is excellent research to support this approach, that this approach works, okay? And this can be found on our website. In addition, Peace has been using sexual risk avoidance programming called Heritage Keepers very effectively. The response has been extremely positive, and this has been tested and proven to reduce teen sexual activity by more than 67%. The bottom line, human sexuality is so connected to one's values, and we live in a pluralistic province. It's not possible to create one curriculum that the majority will embrace. Choice is the only option. As mentioned, there are two recognized and accepted approaches to sexual health instruction: comprehensive sex education and sexual risk avoidance. All families in the province will be able to connect their home values and worldview to one of these two philosophies. An effective education system would do the following. 1, provide choice in sexual health programs based on comprehensive sex education and sexual risk avoidance. 2, they would select tested and proven programs in each of these approaches so that parents can, 3, choose the program that best fits their child's learning needs. And lastly, we should track the results so that we can learn from the results. One of our supporters reminded me that there is biblical support for this approach. She referred to Daniel 1. In Daniel 1, after Nebuchadnezzar besieged Jerusalem, the king ordered the chief of his court to bring to the king's service some of the Israelites from the royal family. They were to be trained for 3 years, and after that, enter the king's service. The king assigned them a daily amount of food and wine from the king's table. But Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah resolved not to defile themselves with the royal food and wine, and asked that the chief official give them permission to eat only vegetables and drink water. The official was afraid because he thought the king was going to have his head if the young man looked worse afterwards. Daniel then said to the guard, "Please test us for 10 days. Give us nothing but vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then compare our appearance with that of the other men who eat the royal food, and then treat your servants in accordance with what you see." So he agreed and tested them. And at the end of the 10 days, they looked healthier and better nourished than any of the other young men. Our approach is exactly the same. Daniel did not force the authorities to change the diet of everyone else, to embrace his worldview. And this recommendation, our recommendation to the government, does not impose our values and worldview on anyone else. We are merely asking that we be allowed to have our children instructed in this important topic in a way that is consistent with the teachings of the home. And we are recommending that the results be tracked so that we can learn from offering choice in curriculum. We've summarized this position in a brief 320-word summary statement that people can use to provide input to the Ministry of Education on sex education. The statement does affirm that we agree with the concerns expressed by the 2015 sex ed by others about the 2015 sex ed curriculum. And then it explains that because we live in a pluralistic province, choice is needed. This statement has been sent out to people via email and is available on the website with our official submission titled Improving Sex Education in Ontario Schools. Thank you so much. God bless.